Hi everyone, in this video I want to talk to you about how to work with tables within solutions on the Power Platform using the modern interface. Now, so when you're working with model-driven apps, you're always going to be taking sort of the initial step is always from the data, and all the data in Dataverse is stored in tables. So the way usually you're going to be working with two types of tables. In most cases, it's either using some of the standard tables that are already available in Dataverse when you create a new environment, or you're going to be creating a custom table. That means creating your own table. Now, Microsoft best practice is that if it's in any way, if it makes sense that you use one of the standard tables, you should always use that. That ensures that also if there's any upgrades at any point, new functionality added, then it's going to affect the already existing standard tables. So if you make any custom tables, they're not going to be included in any of that. And it could also be, of course, that what you make as a custom table now is going to be a standard table at some point later on. So that should always be in the back of your mind that could I use a standard table? You should always strive to do that. Then tables themselves, there's also a third type of table that is the virtual tables. This makes sense if you have data somewhere else. Let's say you have it in a SQL server or something like that you need to work with and access when you're working on a model-driven app. You can make a virtual table, but that's some pretty advanced stuff. We can cover that in a later video, but for now, let's focus on the standard and the custom tables. Tables, as I mentioned, this is where all your data is kept. So this contains, you can think of it sort of like an Excel sheet that the basic layout of a table is that you have columns that you define yourself. These are the fields you see in a model-driven app. And then you have new rows of data that is created each time you make a new record. As I mentioned, you have these columns that you define yourself. These are what's called it's called columns. It used to be called fields. So these for each column you determine the data type yourself. Is it a text field, a number field, a date field? This will have an impact on how you interact with each of the fields in your app. Then you have the forms of the table. This is the layout of how you interact with the tables. Then you have the views, which are basically how you see this information from when you're looking at the list of records. Let's say you're selecting your list of accounts, and then the view is how all the accounts are presented. Then we come into some more advanced stuff. There's business rules, and there's all sorts of you can make charts for each table. But for now, let's stick to the basics of the columns, the forms, and the views, which are sort of the basic way, and probably 99% of the way you're going to be interacting with your tables in your model-driven app. So that was a basic introduction to what is tables and how do you work with tables for a model-driven app on the Power Platform. For more videos, stay tuned. I'll cover, as I mentioned, working with forms in more detail, working with views, and how to create an app in the app designer itself, and also the sitemap a little bit. Stay tuned, guys. Bye.